Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be doing a worst to break of every Episode 6 Return of the Jedi set. Obviously, this will not be including polybags or exclusives or things like that. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. The worst Episode 6 set, in my opinion, is going to be the 2000 A-Wing Fighter. This set looks hideous. I mean, the minifigs, are, they're old, they're yellow, the build looks terrible, so, yeah, terrible minifigs, terrible build. I don't think it was overpriced though, so, that was fine, but, it just looks terrible. Next up, we have the most overpriced set ever, and that is the Final Duel 1 from the year, I think, 1999 or something. This was 25 cents per piece. It was like $7 for, I don't know, a couple pieces or something. So, like, it was, completely overpriced. And the set isn't, it isn't even that good. You got Darth Vader and Sidious, nice minifigs, but not that cool. And it actually went together with this next set, Final Duel 2. And this set, it's also pretty plain. It was, a little less overpriced, but you got, Luke, Stormtrooper, and one of those, officers or something, so, not as bad as the other one, but they're still, really overpriced, and they're not that good of a set. Next up, we have Jabba's Message, and in the beginning, they were making these sets, which were a tiny little build and a couple minifigures, and this is one of them. They weren't the greatest. Here you got 3PO and R2, which were, normal minifigs. And then you got Bib Fortuna, who was exclusive to this set until, I think, the year 2012 or 13. So, it's that one cool minifigure, but the rest just aren't that great. And then, this kind of also went together. You have, Jabba's Prize. A little bit better, you got Boba Fett, which is really cool. You got a, Gamorrean guard, who just looks like a gummy bear. And they got Han Solo, so these two, they're not the greatest, but, it's, you got some decent minifigs. Next on this list, we have the Imperial AT-ST, and this was the first one we ever got, and it was probably also the cheapest. I think it was like $10. But, that doesn't really justify this. The set looks pretty bad, and the minifigure isn't that greatest. You got Chewbacca in his old mold, which I don't really like, so, yeah, it was a great price, I will say that, but it's just the build and the minifigures aren't that cool. This next set is probably the weirdest one out of any set you've ever seen, and that is the B-Wing at Rebel Control Center, and this has a terrible build, and, it has a little control center for the Rebels. It was really nicely priced. It was like 9 cents per piece, so that was nice, but, yeah, it's the first one. It looks really, really bad, and that's why it's back here. Next is the 2006 TIE Interceptor, and this was the first and last time we ever saw a TIE Interceptor, obviously in play scale, or technically not, we did get one in 2019, but that was Von Reich's TIE Fighter. So I really want LEGO to remake this, and it's not that the build is bad here, it's just that the blue looks really weird. I'm not exactly sure why that's there, but it just looks really bad, and if they were to remake it, I think it would look really cool, because it's one of my favorite ships in Star Wars. Just like the last one, next up we have the UCS TIE Interceptor, and this one didn't look any better. I mean, it was UCS, so maybe a couple more details, but it's old, it didn't look that great. I think it was actually blue. You can't really see it here, but, it had some blue in it like the last one, so I really want them to remake this. Like I said before, one of my favorite ships, or at least TIE Fighters, so I really, really want them to remake this, because this just it doesn't look that good. This next set is not too bad, and that is the Desert Skiff, and this retails for I think like $5, so that was incredible. Of course, the build, it's an old one, but it still looks really cool. You got Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. Nothing, like the recent ones, but this set looks pretty cool. The minifigures are also nice. It's just nothing crazy. Next, I've chosen a pretty cool set that is speeder bikes, and here you got Luke Skywalker and 2 Scout Troopers, so you could build a bit of an army with that. And the speeders look pretty cool, I like them. The build where Luke Skywalker is looks pretty weird, but it's still a pretty decent set, just nothing special. Just like the last one, this set is nothing special, but that is the Ewok Attack, and this is kind of the same. You got a Scout Trooper, a Stormtrooper, and 2 Ewoks, so pretty cool. We got one of those flyer things for the Ewoks, we got like a launcher or something, and a speeder, so pretty cool, but like I said, nothing special. This next set is both a cool set and a bit of a weird set, and that is Jabba's Palace from 2003, and I think it's cool because it's a palace, and, it's a cool build, but at the same time, it's not that cool of a build, and you got a really weird Jabba, so, I can't really decide if I like it or not, but you still got some decent minifigures. You got Slave Leia, which, you gotta like her, she's pretty cool, and then you got Luke and a couple other things, so, yeah, I just can't really decide if I like this or not. The 25th best set from episode 6 is going to be the Imperial Shuttle from 2001. And this is not a bad model for being the first one, but it's definitely the worst one out of the ones that we've gotten. And you got Imperial Guards, Palpatine, and a pilot. So not terrible. It's just not as good as the other ones that you will see here later on this list. The 2006 B-Wing is going to be next up on my list, and I just don't think B-Wings look too great in Lego. They just something about it. They just never look the greatest. It's either the minifigs or the shape or something. I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't look that great, and that's why it's back here. Next up is the ATST from, I think, 2007, and this one looks so much better than the last one. The last one didn't look the greatest. You also come with, the pilot and everything, which looks pretty cool. I think it was only one of them, but it still looks nice, and the build is also pretty cool, so altogether, I think this is a pretty cool set. This next set just probably doesn't click with me because I'm not 4 years old, and that is the Action Battle Endor Assault. And, you get some really nice minifigures. They're really nicely detailed and everything, but, I'm just not 4 years old, and I don't find throwing spring-loaded shooters, they're big ones, so they're cool, but I just don't find it fun shooting them at targets and making things fall, so not the greatest. This next set is also, I'm not 4 years old, so I don't like it. That is the Juniors A-Wing. Really cool minifigures, I will say that. It's just the build looks kind of terrible, and then you got an extra weird added build, so yeah, it's just I'm not 4 years old, I just don't like these sets. Next, we have a great upgrade to a great set, and that is the A-Wing from 2006. And the last time we saw this was in 1999, so this was a huge upgrade. It looks so much better. The minifigures, they didn't change much, but the build looks, hundreds of times bigger. It's still not perfect, but it is definitely on its way. Next up, we have a really cool 2009 set, and that is the Home 1 Mon Calamari Star Cruiser. And this is a 2009 release, and it is really cool. You got like a mini A-Wing and a mini base, and it just looks really cool. And you also got some pretty cool minifigures. I think like most of them were exclusive. You got Mon Mothma, who I think this was the first time we ever saw her, and Lando. And, the pilots look a little bit outdated, but they're still really cool. And I would love to get a remake of this maybe in a couple years. The UCS B-Wing Starfighter from 2011 was probably one of the worst sets that LEGO ever made. I don't necessarily think it's a bad set, but I think people really hated this when it came out. It sold terribly. I think at one point it was actually on half off at Lego.com, which never happens. I don't think it looks too bad. It looks much better in UCS form. This was before the days of minifigures, so you didn't get any of those. But I think it looks nice enough. It's not perfect or anything, but it's definitely not too bad of a set. The 2012 Endor Rebel Trooper and Imperial Trooper Battle Pack was pretty cool. I think it was the first time we ever got like a versus battle pack, which is one guy against the other guy. So pretty cool. You got some nice minifigs, Rebels and Imperials. And I think it is, a pretty nice battle pack. Also, this next one, it's not really a battle pack, but that is the Ewok Attack. Also, pretty cool set. The tree is actually a really nice design. I really like it. So you got a Scout Trooper, a couple Ewoks. So nothing, too crazy, but these are both still pretty cool sets. Cracking the top 15 here, we have the most recent and probably the best version of a B-Wing we will ever get, and that is the 2014 B-Wing. It's a pretty decent model. You get I think it's an exclusive B-Wing pilot, which is pretty cool. A couple other minifigures, nothing crazy, but I just thought it kind of deserved the 15th place. So it's not a terrible set, but it is definitely not incredible or anything. The next set I've chosen is the 2015 Death Star Final Duel. This set is pretty cool. It was the first time we ever got the new head mold for Darth Vader. I don't really like the old one. I know people disagree on that, but I personally like the new one better. And it's just like a really cool set. I think it looks really cool, and yeah, we did get another one of these in 2020, which is a tiny bit of an upgrade, but this is still a pretty cool set. The most recent update to the Imperial Shuttle is going to be up next. It's, we all know why it's not as good. It's much smaller. It has stud shooters. It has Darth Vader without arm printing, so definitely a downgrade from the last ones we've had. But that is not to say it is not a terrible model. It is definitely sturdy and everything, so, it's a decent set, but I just don't think it's as good as the other ones. These next two sets are both pretty similar, and the first one is the 2013 A-Wing, And this one was pretty expensive. I mean, it was for 177 pieces. You were paying, I think, $25. So that's a little bit much for me. The minifigures didn't help much either. They weren't anything special, but nonetheless, it's still a pretty cool set. It kind of holds up to today's standards. But next up, we have an even better one, and that is the 2016 or 17 A-Wing. And this one's a little bit better. The minifigures are really, really cool. You got a really good Lando. I love the Lando. A crew member and an A-Wing pilot. So it's all pretty cool, and I think this one is just a little bit better than the one beforehand. Next on the list, we have the UCS-AT-ST. This is really, really cool. I love it. It looks great. I don't think you got any minifigures. I think this was before the time of minifigures and UCS sets, but it still looks really, really cool. The design and everything. I would have liked it maybe less studs on the outsides, but still looks really, really cool, and I think it is a great, great set. 2012 definitely had some pretty cool episode 6 sets, and one of those is the Desert Skiff. This one is pretty cool. You got some really cool minifigures. You got Boba Fett, you got Luke Skywalker, you got Lando, and a pirate, I think that is. So all really cool minifigures. I think this is a great set. It looks really, really good. But then the one that we got in 2017, I think is just a little bit better, and that's just because, I don't know, the design is a little different, a little more updated. The minifigures are, kind of the same. You got Boba, Chewie, Han, and like a pirate minifigure. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but yeah, this one is just a little bit better than the one. I think it's just the design is a little bit cooler. One of the greatest sets of all time for minifigures, in my opinion, is going to be the 2005 Imperial Inspection. This had so many cool minifigures. You got some Imperial Guards, you got, I think, 4 or 5 Stormtroopers, which was incredible, and they were actually exclusive to the set. They still are to this day. They had some really, really cool leg printing, and that's basically, the cool thing about the set. You just got so many Stormtroopers. The build for the ship, I don't think was any different from the 2001 version, but yeah, it's just the minifigures are really, really cool. The 2020 Death Star Final Duel was not much of an upgrade from the 2015 model, but I think, the minor upgrades that it has just makes it a little bit cooler, so I stuck it here. Not too much different. Darth Vader's arm printing, same minifigures, basically. Palpatine a tiny bit upgraded, so not much of an upgrade, but I think it's still a really cool set. The greatest Imperial shuttle, in my opinion, is going to be the 2015 model. It just looks so cool. You got some really cool minifigures. I think it retailed for like $100, so almost perfectly priced in my opinion. So it looks great. It has such good minifigs. I don't think Lego will ever make a model that's better than this. It's so perfect. The 2020 UCS A-Wing is up next, and I didn't think it deserved to be top 5, but definitely top 10. I think the design is really cool, how it's like half studs, half not. And I think you even got a minifigure, which is nice, so I think it is a really cool UCS set. Alright, so the next couple sets are Jabba sets, and the first one is Jabba's Cell Barge from 2003. This was huge, like it is huge. You got Jabba's Cell Barge, which is really cool. You could, open it up and do a couple things. You also got a Desert Skiff and a Sarlacc, so really, really cool. I think this is such a good set. The next set I've chosen is the 2013 Rancor Pit, and I chose this for 2 main reasons. One, because of the Rancor's exclusivity, and, he just looks really cool. And the other is, that it has this really cool play feature, where you could basically connect it to the 2012 Jabba's Palace. You could see here you have Jabba's Palace on top and the Rancor Pit on the bottom, so that was really cool. And of course, it kind of just fit to take, to choose the Jabba's Palace next. So, obviously, we have Jabba's Palace next, and it was a huge upgrade from the 2003 version. It looks great. You got some great minifigures. Jabba the Hutt, before Tuna, Han Solo, Ula. Chewbacca is actually probably one of the worst ones there, but it is still really, really cool, and, I just had to put those two together. I think it just kind of fit to put this next, and that is the Jabba's Cell Barge, and it looks incredible. You got some great play features. It is definitely a great upgrade from the 2003 model, and, you got some great minifigures. You got Jabba the Hutt, you got Max Rebo, you got Princess Leia, R2-D2, Reese, and one more that I'm going to try to pronounce, but, it is really cool sets, and it just looks so great. Before I crack the top 3, there's just one set that didn't make it, and that is the UCS 2013 Ewok Village. And I think this set is incredible. You got so many minifigures. I think that Scout Trooper was exclusive to the set. Also, Leia was exclusive. You got some Rebels, you got some Ewoks, and then some main characters. But also, it's just really big. You got so many like trees and plants and everything. It's just really cool. And then the one set that I think is just a little bit better than this is the Endor Bunker, or to be more specific, the Battle of Endor from 2009. And the reason I think this is just a little bit better than the Village is because we've never really gotten anything like this ever since, or before this. So it's just like a little bit cooler. We've gotten some kind of version of the Village, like small sets or things like that. So I think it's just a little bit cooler because we've never seen anything like this since or before. Another great UCS set is the Death Star 2. This is the only time we got a paneled UCS Death Star, and I really wish they're going to make another one of these, but it is incredible. It is also really big. It is, I think, also accurate, with like a half open, and it just looks so incredible. The best Episode 6 set, in my opinion, is going to be the UCS Imperial Shuttle. I think some of you saw this coming, but it is so cool. You got some great minifigures. You could have the wings fold out. It had landing gears. It had everything. So it is really cool, and that is why I think it is the best the best Episode 6 set, in my opinion. So yeah, guys, that is going to do it for my worst to brick of every Episode 6 Return of the Jedi set. Don't forget to tell me down in the comments if you would change anything, or if you have different opinions on sets. And yeah, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.